Saying Yamato is an extremely divisive character within the One Piece community might just be the understatement of the century. The amount of discourse surrounding this character is insane, and it literally infests any discussion involving her. Discourse about her power scaling, discourse about her writing, hell, even discourse about her gender. I myself even have history with this character, with my own video trying to explain some confusion about the last one, leading to Yamato becoming almost a boogeyman for this channel, haunting it no matter where it goes, which is the reason I'm making this video. It's time I finally put this to bed and definitively break down every aspect of Yamato, as well as explicitly stating my stance on them, so that I never have to say it again. And before anyone thinks of commenting how I'm a transphobe or sexist or whatever before even watching the video, I seriously recommend opening your mind and actually listening to my points first, as you'll soon realize that maybe your opinion on an anime character doesn't automatically make you a good or bad person. So first, let's start where most places do, at the introduction. To introduce Yamato is to implicitly describe my biggest problem with the character, and the root of why she pushes the One Piece fandom to either extremely liking her or extremely hating her. Now, trigger warning here, I'm about to do something I try to avoid heavily in my videos, and that is use a buzzword. Okay, you ready? Now, the term Mary Sue is a character archetype in fiction, usually a young woman who is often portrayed as inexplicably competent across all domains, gifted with unique talents or powers, liked or respected by most other characters, unrealistically free of weaknesses, extremely attractive, innately virtuous, and or generally lacking meaningful character flaws. Now, while I understand the implications of calling a female character a Mary Sue in the form of mediocre video essays, just this once, I will bear the cross simply for the fact that Yamato fits the mold for a Mary Sue to an almost uncanny degree. The best way for me to describe Yamato is as if Oda had a checklist of attributes he could give to a character to make them as popular as possible, then just put them all together without realizing he actually had to supplement those traits with solid writing. So let's go over that checklist. Child of a Yonko? Check. Attractive design / Nami face? Check. Sad backstory? Check. Mythical Zoan? Check. Conqueror's Haki? Not only check, but advanced conquerors at that. And if all that wasn't enough, why not just literally make her Kozuki Oden, a character we spent actual time with and was fleshed out instead of just being shoved onto us out of nowhere with the expectation we'd instantly fall in love with them. It's like Oda was trying to coast off the excellent character work he did with Oden just by stapling his name onto Yamato and hoping nobody would be able to tell the difference. This lazy form of character design never works on people who actually appreciate writing, and instead appeals to the kind of people who enjoy the idea of manga over the manga itself, the image and aesthetic of One Piece instead of all the cogs underneath that make it actually work as a story. Another really strange tactic Oda uses to try to get the audience to immediately like Yamato is her strange and off-putting insertion right in the middle of Momonosuke's character arc. Although I don't even know if describing it as the middle is that accurate, as in reality, Momo's arc was pretty much wrapped up by the time he'd aged himself up physically to reflect him mentally stepping up to becoming the Shogun, as well as the numerous occasions and slowly more brave moments in which he stood up and even directly fought the King of Beasts himself, Kaido. After honestly too much character growth for me to go through, Oda just decides that nope, Momo doesn't believe in himself again, and he needs Yamato of all people to motivate him to carry Onigashima to safety. The weekly format definitely didn't help, with the constant cutbacks every chapter to the exact same exchange between the two occurring again and again. But either way, the idea that Yamato and Momonosuke should in any way have a real relationship is almost perverse. But that gets more into the bad writing rather than my point right now, which is that the awkward, forced, and uncanny way Yamato is forced into the story, given all these artificial traits to seem cool and important and expected to just be adored by the masses, with nobody realizing how shallow this all really is, comes across as honestly insulting to a certain extent. Like, did Oda really think it was that easy? Well, I mean, I guess the answer is yes, it is that easy for the majority, but still, what happened to respecting the art form over just trying to appeal to the masses? Now, besides just explaining why Oda's attempts to make Yamato popular personally to me came across as lazy and left a bad taste in my mouth, I still need to actually explain why Yamato is a bad character. As so far, all I've really done is explain why I don't like her instead of why I dislike her. Now, the most important thing to understand about why Yamato is just a fundamentally shit tier character is her completely flat and shallow writing compared to contemporaries in other arcs. Comparing Vivi, Rebecca, or hell, even Shirahoshi from the beginning and end of their respective arcs, you see a clear change in attitudes, motivations, and beliefs. Yet with Yamato, and I mean this literally, not figuratively, she never changes from her introduction. She starts off as annoying and shallow, and ends as annoying and shallow. The worst part is how easy it would be to actually make her work and more tolerable. Yamato is convinced she's Odin. Simply let her interaction with Momonosuke, Luffy, and others educate her on Odin's true character and what it means to be him outside of what she just read in his diary. These lessons give her the slow realization that she's not in fact Odin, and that mantle is meant for souls other than herself. Yamato can then learn to accept her lineage as the child of Kaido, and instead of rejecting it, embrace it, and even weaponize it. Maybe she takes charge of the remainders of the Beast Pirates after Kaido gets taken down and becomes an ally of the Straw Hat crew. Essentially, anything is better than what we were given, which was the same phrase being repeated over and over again.
Do something else! Do something else! That's it! That's all we want!
With nothing ever being expanded upon. Honestly, that might be why I didn't mind her as much in the anime compared to the manga. Due to its horrible pacing, the anime gives a lot more time to Yamato to make her feel a bit more fleshed out and like a real character, instead of a walking gag who wasn't even funny the first time. Which, speaking of, let's actually talk about the gag and the, let's say, implications certain readers have gotten from it. I think one thing that must be made immediately clear about Yamato claiming she's Odin is the fundamental understanding that at its core, it's a gag. A gag not only supposed to be funny for the reader, but also something worthy of ridicule from characters within the story. The reason I think it's so important to get that out of the way first is that if characters within the story aren't willing to take Yamato calling herself seriously, isn't it bizarre to expect the same of the reader? Given Oda's track record of transgender characters being taken completely at face value, with practically zero controversy, ridicule, or questioning in and out of universe, the idea that suddenly, almost 1,000 chapters into the story, he would decide that a transgender man's identity is something that the main characters of the story, including Luffy himself, should criticize, devalue, and be flat out disgusted by is insane to me. In fact, the concept itself of Yamato being transgender to me is what would be transphobic. Oda writing a transgender character just to have that aspect of themselves mocked by the good guys and not taken seriously by anyone would be seriously problematic, and it shocks me that not only allies of the LGBT community, but trans people themselves insist that Yamato is trans, and acts like opposing that opinion makes you transphobic. I support the idea that Yamato isn't trans because if she was, that would mean Oda, king of the lefties, would have just suddenly forgotten how to respectfully write trans characters and just started creating walking attack helicopter jokes. The fact that I've had to deal with people calling me transphobic for years because I've simply stated author intent is harrowing and really speaks to the reading comprehension and straight up audacity of some people. To try attack me personally and make sweeping statements about me while knowing nothing about me just because of my opinion on a fictional character. It puts me in such an awful position because if I tried to defend myself against these accusations, it would just sound like I'm virtue signaling and trying to seem ultra progressive to pander to people. The fact that fictional arguments have made me even consider having to prove that I support trans people is so fucking dumb. But it needs to be said for people to listen to me. Hey, trans people, you're fucking awesome, and I love you. Fuck transphobes. There, do you understand? I'm an old person with regular morals, and now it might be possible for you to listen to my points about One Piece with some good faith. Because remember, this is what this is about, One Piece. Not about me and my person, whether I'm just some evil cunt or not. I'm talking about a fictional character in One Piece. So now that you know I'm not actually, completely evil, now will you, maybe listen to my points about a fictional character? Because I've pinned down why conceptually the idea of Yamato being trans would be harmful to the trans community. However, people still might insist that she is trans despite that. And while there are probably already a million threads and videos explaining in detail why Yamato isn't trans, I might as well briefly go over it. Because honestly, this debate is mostly dead at this point if both sides actually do care about the evidence instead of just saying what they think or what they believe. 1. She was explicitly stated to be female in her Viva card. 2. Kiku was specifically stated to be biologically male but female in her heart and mind in her Viva card. 3. Oda draws Yamato in all female cover pages. 4. Yamato constantly breaks character throughout the manga and refers to herself either by name or forgetting she's supposed to be a man. 5. All examples of Yamato being treated as male are in-universe and remove the context, such as Kaido mocking Yamato by calling her Odin, as made clear in her backstory, Yamato insisting she is Odin and therefore a man. If Odin was a woman, Yamato would still be a woman, which I explained in my very first video on this topic. But here is the underlying fact. For Yamato to be a man, she would have to be Odin. And guess what? Yamato is not Odin. No matter what cope you come up with, she is not and never will be Odin. If anything, the concept of Odin as a person is carried on far better by his son, Momonosuke, or hell, even Luffy himself. Yamato is essentially just your average chud on the internet who sees a character they like and go, OMG, he's literally me. Nothing more and nothing less. If you want a good trans male character, I'd recommend reading Fire Punch, which not only has a trans male character, but said character also just coincidentally happens to be the greatest character ever written in fiction. So, just saying, you might want to give it a chance. These two panels honestly seal the deal for me, man. This is a woman walking up to an orphan child, screaming in his face that she is his dead father, and him cringing with fear in reaction. I mean, could you create a more embarrassing image in the face of the argument that, oh, this is a serious attempt at a transgender character? Either that or the bizarre statement of, maybe you're more Odin than me. Like, what? There is no context where this could make any sense if Yamato genuinely believed she was Odin. Which leaves the final and, in my opinion, most pathetic argument left. Well, she goes by he, him pronouns, so respect them, you bigot. Actually, I think you find she refers to herself with pronouns that, while boyish, are ultimately neutral. And referring to pronouns isn't really consistent anyway, because it's been shown that any character can use almost any pronouns because of the way the Japanese language works. So really, the answer ends up being that any pronouns with Yamato works. He, him, she, her, they, them, it all works. Hell, let's just for the sake of argument concede and say, you know what? You're right. Yamato does only use male pronouns to refer to himself. What is that proof of? So suddenly all pronouns have to be completely one-to-one with my gender? I can't use he, him pronouns, but I feel like I'm non-binary or even a woman? This argument is extremely binary and kind of reaches a horseshoe theory where the trans Yamato side is trying so hard to be progressive, they end up leaning more towards conservative thinking. Her pronouns don't automatically correlate to her gender, making the argument null and void to begin with. So I busted down the reasons why Yamato shouldn't be trans, as well as the reason she can't be trans. So why not end it with why she will not continue this arse gag in the first place? Listen man, I just want some evolution as a character. Why the fuck would I want a character who thinks they're Odin but isn't really, when I've already experienced a character who actually is Odin? I suggested in my first video that by the end of Wano, Yamato would have come to terms with the relation to Kaido, and found a way to weaponize it for good and turn it into something constructive, similar to Todoroki from My Hero. Yet here we are, well past Wano, and she's still the same character. All I can hope for is that off-screen, some actual development will occur. That is Oda's signature style. And that next time we see Yamato, she will be her own fleshed out character, instead of some strange ditto of a character that we all know and love, and died a long time ago. Oh, and for the record, just in case anyone watching this is agreeing with me, but kind of in a hateful way and wants to use this to spread that hate, Bridget is fucking trans, okay? Like, I don't even play Striver. That shit is so obvious. Like, Jesus Christ. Get a life, Nick. Okay, so that's that video. It's been a long time coming. People always messaging me about Yamato, like, oh, you know, Yamato. Okay, I've done it. I never want to talk about her again. Unless I make even if I make a Wano video, I'm just probably just gonna link back to this video to like, yep, there you go. That's the Yamato video. This is it's done now. This topic is dead. I don't want to talk about Yamato anymore. I want to talk about Fire Punch. Okay, that's why I actually like. I don't even like One Piece. Anyway, end the video.